You ever notice how piracy just won't die? And I'm not talking about movies, I'm talking about video games. I mean, every time a company says they have it under control, people find another way to download a game for free. And here's the crazy part, it feels like game piracy is on the rise again. And I'm not just talking about retro games, but new modern games are being pirated as well. I know that sounds wild in an age where we got Game Pass, PlayStation Plus, digital stores, and streaming, but if you look closer, it kinda makes sense. So let me break down why piracy is booming and why honestly, a lot of gamers, they don't even feel bad about it anymore. Okay, so let's rewind a bit first. See, back in the early 2000s, if you wanted to pirate a game, you had to burn a disc, find a sketchy torrent, or mod your console. It was this underground thing that involved some work. Half the time, you'd risk downloading a virus or crashing your PC just for a chance to play something like Half-Life 2 without paying. But now, piracy is easier, faster, and way more tempting. You don't need shady friends who know a guy. You don't even need a chipped console. A couple of Google searches and boom, you're playing a $70 release for free. And then 2025 and into 2026, when the cost of gaming has gone through the roof, that's a huge draw. So what's the problem? Well, here's the first big reason. Games are too expensive. We've hit the era of $70 video games, and that's just the base game. Publishers are stuffing microtransactions, DLC, and deluxe editions into everything. A complete game can cost you well over $100. Now, think about the average gamer. Not everyone has that kind of money to drop on every new release. Imagine being a teenager or someone on a tight budget. You want to play the new Call of Duty, but you've got rent, groceries, and bills to worry about. Piracy becomes this alternative, and it's not just about being cheap. For some people, it's literally the only way they can keep up with the hobby. When the price tag starts looking like a car payment, piracy stops feeling like stealing and starts feeling like survival. The second big reason, DRM. For anyone who doesn't know, DRM stands for Digital Rights Management. It's the stuff companies use to stop you from copying games. In theory, DRM protects developers from pirates. In practice, it usually makes life miserable for paying customers. Take Denuvo for example. That's the infamous DRM that can tank performance, force you to always be online, and sometimes even lock you out of your own purchase. And here's the kicker, pirates crack those protections anyway. So imagine you buy a game legally, it runs worse, and you need an internet connection just to boot it. Meanwhile, the pirated version runs smoother and doesn't nag you. That's kind of insane. For some players, piracy isn't just cheaper, it's actually a better product. Another reason piracy is making a comeback is regional lockout and availability. Not every game is available everywhere. Some countries have insane pricing, others get games months later or never at all because of licensing, censorship, or politics. Think about it. If a game is $70 in the US, that's already pricey, but in countries where the local currency is weaker, that same game might cost the equivalent of $120 or more. That's not just expensive, that's impossible. For those gamers, piracy isn't about breaking the law, it's about being able to play at all. When the industry doesn't make games available fairly across regions, players, well, they find ways to get them anyway. Here's another big one, subscription fatigue and rising prices. We're living in the Netflix world of gaming. Xbox Game Pass, PlayStation Plus, EA Play, Ubisoft Plus, cloud streaming, the list goes on. At first, these services felt like a dream. Pay a small monthly fee, play a library of games. Awesome, right? But now it's gotten overwhelming. If you want access to all the big titles, you're now juggling multiple subscriptions. That $10 a month quickly turns into $50 or more. And when games rotate out of libraries, you lose access unless you buy them outright. Some gamers look at all of that and think, why juggle 5 subs when I can just download what I want for free? Piracy in that sense feels like the one subscription that doesn't run out. And with Game Pass Ultimate now costing $30 a month, that's $360 a year. I mean, of course people are going to find other ways to enjoy their games without breaking the bank. Now let's talk about emulation for a second, because see, this is where piracy gets a little more complicated. A lot of gamers aren't pirating the latest AAA releases, they're pirating old games that aren't sold anymore or that are trapped on dead consoles like the Dreamcast or PSP. If a company isn't selling the game but fans still want to play it, is it really piracy in the traditional sense? That's where emulators come in. People are downloading entire libraries of classic games because publishers won't make them available legally, or either the companies don't exist anymore. If the only way to play a 20-year-old RPG is to pirate it, then, well, fans will. And honestly, a lot of players see it less as piracy and more as preservation. Now here's the part that might shock you. The culture around piracy has changed. Back in the day, people pirated with this little voice in the back of their head saying, "This is wrong." It felt like sneaking into a movie theater or shoplifting. But now, with all of the anti-consumer practices, crazy prices, and companies nickel and diming players, that guilt is fading. For a lot of gamers, pirating feels less like stealing and more like a form of protest. It's like saying, if you're not going to treat me fairly, I'll take matters into my own hands. And the internet only pushes this mindset. Forums, Reddit threads, and Discord groups all full of people swapping piracy tips like it's no big deal. The stigma just isn't there anymore. But here's the thing. These game companies, they know piracy is rising. That's why they're spending millions of dollars trying to stop it. But at the end of the day, these pirates are always one step ahead. So you can build the most complicated DRM system in the world, but some hacker sitting in their basement will have it cracked in a few days. The real solution isn't more DRM or higher prices, it's giving players what they want. Affordable games, fair regional pricing, wide availability, and performance that doesn't punish paying customers. Look at how Spotify changed music piracy. Back when MP3 downloads ruled, piracy was king. Then Spotify came along with a cheap, convenient, legal option. Music piracy dropped like crazy. And you know, gaming could do the same if companies stopped fighting players and started listening. So at the end of the day, just listen to us and give us what we want. And maybe we'll stop. Maybe.